So, hi. There was a little bit of a delay. Sorry about that. But someone had shared a video with me, and so I'm going to share it with you. They were asking, was this really necessary and what did I think? So I did a little research because, on social media, sometimes folks don't do their homework and they start spreading stuff that's years old. And so what I know about this incident is that it occurred in Taylor, Michigan, and that it occurred in 2017, but it's making its way again around Facebook anyway. And one of my Facebook friends wanted to know what I thought about it. And so I'm going to share this traffic stop with you, and then we'll talk about it on the other side. Here we go.
Wow.
How you doing, sir?
How you doing, man?
You have your driver's license vehicle information on you?
What's going on?
I'd be happy to tell you once I see who I'm talking to, all right?
I need you to let me know, like, what's going on. Like, what happened?
Like I said, I'd be happy to tell you once I see information.
I'm not giving you my information until you tell me what you pulling me over for.
All right, sir. Failure to give me my information is an arrestable offense, okay? So you can either do this the easy way or the hard way, all right?
I need to know what you're pulling me over for.
I'm going to tell you once I see information, all right?
I got information, but I'm not giving you my information until you tell me what you're pulling me over for.
Here's the deal. Either give me your ID or you go to jail. How about that?
Put this on camera, man, because we're not dealing with this.
Give me your ID.
I need to know why you pulling me over.
Give him your ID.
Detail 5 radio. I'll be on a stop, entrance to the parks. Can you send me another car? I have a uncooperative occupant. Last chance.
I need to know why you pulling me over.
Give him your ID. He's gonna tell you what it is.
My tag's expired and my lights out.
I'd be happy to tell you, sir. Are you a lawyer, sir?
Hey, I'm representing myself right now.
Okay.
Because to be honest with you, I have a right to remain silent, right? So I could just sit here and ignore you.
No, you can't, sir.
I don't ask you any questions.
Okay. Well, it's going to turn out very poorly for you.
It's fine, but you're not telling me what's going on, and that ain't right.
I'm going to tell you what the deal is. You're probably suspended, so you don't want to give me your license.
So, am I free to go?
No, you're not free to go. This is an investigatory stop, all right? All right, here's the deal.
For all I know, you could be trying to kill me right now.
You're absolutely ridiculous, all right?
I don't care.
All right, step out of the car.
It's been 2 minutes. I'm not stepping out the car until you tell me what's going on.
All right, open the door.
Hey, put this on camera. Put this on camera. You gotta let me know what's going on, man. You're not going there.
You're going to jail is what's going on.
For what? You ain't... What charges? On what charges? Wow.
Get out of the car now. Yo, my shit, get outside! Yo, my shit, get outside! Yo, my shit, get outside! Get out of the car, man. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Let me get out of the car. Okay, get out.
Get out of the car!
You ain't getting out of the car. Get out of the car now. Get out of the car. On the ground. Put your hand behind your back. I got the car. Me too. Your hands, man. Put your hand behind your back. Over. Knees, stand up. Get your knees up. Right in, look up. 1, 2, 3, get up. Come on, right back here.
So there you have it. Listen, as a 20-year veteran sergeant of the Los Angeles Police Department, having spent all 20 years in patrol, in uniform, driving around in a black and white, I promise you, while this video may be outdated, the information I'm about to give you is going to be timely, because listen, whenever an officer directs you to do a thing, you need to just do it. Comply and complain if you think you're being racially profiled, if you think they have no reason to stop you. Many times an officer may have information that you don't know. And in this instance, we see, there's an officer who's not willing to tell you what that information is that you don't know. Now, that's not how I get down. I don't have a problem explaining to somebody why I stopped them. I mean, most people just want to know, hey, officer, why'd you stop me? And so what was the big deal? But for testosterone was running through everybody's veins. And listen, I don't know, but I'm just thinking that these guys are a bunch of elephant hunters, right? Those are the guys who ride around during their shift looking for felons, looking for folks to put in jail for one reason or another. Not your garden variety patrol officer, but the bad boys, right? Billy Badass, I like to call them. And so when you don't do what they say, when you try to hold court curbside, there's a price to pay. And this gentleman went to jail. And listen, you don't get to see the whole video, but I was able to find it out there on the internet because I needed to do my research and due diligence so I could speak to you intelligently about what happened and what it's purported to have happened. And what I've seen from a fuller version of this video is that there were two other people in the car with him, his wife and another young man who was described to be a juvenile. And of course, after they got through yanking and jerking around the driver, whose name is Calvin Jones, he went to jail. He probably, had some serious financial burdens because they broke his window out of his car. I bet you they impounded because they took his wife to jail too. You see them, not in this video, but in the full version of the video, you see them get her out the car, manhandle her, arrest her for interfering because she was recording on her cell phone, which is your right to do. It's reported that one of the officers took her cell phone and just hurled it across the street, no doubt breaking it. So that's another expense. All for what? Because an officer is a jackass and won't tell you why he stopped you. Let him do his thing. Give him your ID. Because here's the deal, family. At least in California, and I don't think this is unique to California, when a police officer stops you and asks you for ID, you have to provide it. In this instance, the reason for the stop was because the guy, allegedly, Calvin Jones, didn't stop for a stop sign. Now, I don't know if he really didn't stop or that's just what they said, but it's a legitimate reason. It's an infraction, it's a ticket, and you're on your way. When you don't provide identification as asked by a police officer, you have just elevated an infraction to a misdemeanor arrest, because in the state of California, 12500A of the vehicle code, look it up, driving or refusing to provide ID, that's a misdemeanor. Now, I don't know whether or not this guy didn't have a license, but if you don't have a license, and that's what this officer inferred, I think you're not showing me because you don't have one. That's what he inferred. And then, of course, resisting arrest. And that's the thing, that's that catch-all that officers love to arrest people for, when we don't ever even find out why they stopped them initially, but at the end of the day, they wind up arresting you for interfering with their investigation. Because when a police officer stops you, they're conducting an investigation, and part of that investigation is to identify the person that they're dealing with, you. And when you don't provide your identification, you are now interfering with their investigation. You are now obstructing their investigation. A crime. It'll probably be a DA reject, but that's after you spend probably a weekend in jail if it's a Friday, right? And here in LA, you don't go to court till Monday, so you spent 72 hours in jail, and you've got 3 days of impound fees, plus your car's been impounded and stored, so that's an expense. It's really not worth it. And more importantly, it's not worth it because you don't know which jackass just pulled you over. And of those four, any one of them could at any moment said, he's going for my gun. And then you got an officer involved shooting, and ooh-wee. Over a stop sign, over an infraction. Because listen, I say all the time, as a police officer, great deference is given to what we say. And you know, I've shown you many examples right here on Instagram of videos where police officers say things that sometimes aren't true, sometimes are not believable, doesn't seem reasonable. But when it gets to a jury, great deference is given to what we say. And listen, if I kill you as a police officer, then there's only one version, and that's the one that I tell. So I share this with you not because I think the officers acted appropriately. I don't. I think they exacerbated the situation by not telling Mr. Jones why they stopped him. Stopped you because you ran a stop sign. They exacerbated the situation. They escalated the situation. And listen, the onus is on us, I believe, as a professional, as a police officer. It's my responsibility to calm you down. I understand when I walk up to you in my uniform, you are already hot. I get that. And so I don't take it personal, but I think that's the difference between girls and guys. Guys take it personal, and then next thing you know, it's like two rams button heads, and the civilian ram is going to lose every time. So listen, comply, complain, survive the police encounter. It was also reported, and I don't know what ultimately happened with this gentleman, but I do know that he went to jail. They said once they took him to jail, they stripped him down to his underwear and put him on the floor in a cold cell for however long it took them to get him processed. And I'm sure that wasn't a quick situation, because now he's a victim of contempt of cop. He's pissed them off, and so they're going to make him pay. So end of the day, survive the encounter. And that's what I have to say about Calvin Jones not showing his ID to Taylor, Michigan police officer C. Vines, V-I-N-E-S. My guess is Officer C. Vines on the Taylor, Michigan Police Department is still out there. Be careful, family. If you run across him, he's an elephant hunter. Just show him your ID, write a letter of complaint, and try to get redress in that way. That's it for now, family. Thank you for watching Sergeant Dorsey Speaks. You can support my mission by visiting my Cash App, Sergeant Dorsey Speaks, or Venmo, as well as my website, sgtdorseyspeaks.com, where you can purchase my autobiography, Black and Blue, The Creation of a Social Advocate. Thank you. Until next time, be good, be safe.